Hello YouTube. Alright, we've got a new radio on the bench today. It's a Signet O2A. Product serial number is the CB102. Model star Telstar 1 or I. Anyway, this radio was delivered to Australia as an 18 channel. It's been upgraded to a 40 specification. The era of this is circa 1982 again. It's a Cybernet chassis, and we see this common design. It's a PTB M058 COX, which is similar to the GE A model, the Electrophone CB550, and all of that. It actually aligns itself more with the GE A model because it doesn't have the deluxe features such as the VSWR meter or modulation meter. So if we turn it on, we can see that it's a 40 channel, very basic, nice looking radio. This one is in reasonable condition. I've already done some polishing, so we see the knobs are nice and shiny, switches are all intact, everything works. Tone high and low, NB on and off, and PA CB. Obviously AM and lower sideband, squelch, RF gain and volume. Very basic. We see the usual GE meter. Interesting thing with this radio, one, it's a 5-pin plug similar to the Electrophone. On the rear though, factory wise, it has a Uniden fitting. As you can see, the sticker for the Department of Communications at the time, defining it as an 18 channel. And the details of the transceiver. Interesting, this was delivered to Australia by the Midland Group under the company name of Midland Overseas Australia Proprietary Limited. So Midland had quite a few CBs delivered into Australia, but a lot of them ended up becoming the emerging band UHF, which was here, which was 476, 477 megahertz. And that's where we see a lot of Midland radios historically. But this is a very nice radio. I'll just flip it over. I've taken the screws out already. As we can see, the familiar GE splayed fittings on the speaker. Interesting here, I've never seen this before, but if we look at the 40 channel block, it's identical to the GE A model, except it's been remanufactured. So somebody was obviously manufacturing these. I didn't know about it. I haven't seen this before, so if any of you know who it was, and it'd be interesting to find out more on that. It's got the typical triple Z 017 VCO, and there's the O2A chip right down in there that we're accustomed to seeing. But other than that, it is just standard Cybernet Mark I chassis with the common SC107A crystal filter, 1969s and 2166 driver. This has had a lot of the caps replaced. The only thing they haven't replaced is the DC filter up here. So all quite interesting as we go over this. It appears not to have been hacked, but somebody has been at it because the lugs are missing off the front fascia, which means this is a bit loose. When that happens, you replace these screws, put washers underneath them and hold on to it. Alright, so I'm just going to put it back together. Alright, now it's got a few scratches on the underneath of it, as we can see here in the alloy. As we come across here, a few marks, and in here. And then as I pick it up on the top side, we've got marks here, here. We've got all these marks in here. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to just mask it off and use a bit of wet and dry and see if we can get some of those marks out on the top panel. This radio, as you can see from the pictures that I'm about to insert now, the way they did the faceplate from factory was it was painted. It was a very, very light silver. I can't replicate that at this stage, so I'm going the extreme and polishing. Alright, display's taped up, and I'm going to start work on trying to remove some of these scratches on the leading edge. So this is 2000 grit wet and dry. Just going to be doing long strokes and seeing if we can at least get a better result from here. And I'll have this highly polished, and that way I have consistency across the radio faceplate. I'll just tear off my first sheet. Right. Got to be mindful of the plastic edge here. And when you do this, you can generally, as a guide, as you can see here, you can see the marks are coming out, or showing up, I should say. You can use the wet and dry as wet or dry. I'll do a bit on the leading edge. The beauty of this is that these edges were all polished, so when I'm using the cutting agent, when I'm polishing it, I'm just repolishing the edges, and that gives me a far better result. Alright, when I have more, I'll show more. Alright, I've done the leading edge, a tiny bit along the leading edge. I've got a lot of the scratches out, but as you can see, there's quite a few gouges in the middle, in the display. They're not a lot considering the age. This is a, what is it, 42-year-old radio. But you can see why it's necessary to use the blue tape, because even your best chances, you're not going to stop hitting the inlay. So it's very important that you cover that up. All right, I'm now going to use obviously the Autosol metal polish, again on a microfiber, and I'm going to start polishing this. All right, we got a little bit on the rag, and we're just going to be using it full length. And it starts working when the friction builds up. That's when you start getting your results. Alright, I'll continue with this. Okay, so if we have a look at the O2A area, which is here. We can see that someone has removed switch mods from the radio. The work is actually quality work, and also done a track repair here. If we go over the rest of the radio, there are signs of work on the radio, especially in this area here. That's not factory, and neither is this one here. So I'll have to have a look into that. Other than that, it all looks quite healthy underneath. I'll just put the covers back on. Alright, there we go. I'm not going to do any more than what I've done. It's removed a lot of the scratches. And there we go, a Cygnet O2A Cybernet Mark 1 chassis CB radio from the early 80s, which have been converted to a 40 channel radio for Australia, which is the same as the rest of the world now. And there we go. Remember, comment, like and subscribe. It's all very important in this game of things. Another one for the cabinet.